objective for today states, I will identify examples of scarcity on a bubble map. I will use learning techniques such as using a bubble map to understand new vocabulary. Now, I'd like each of you to go ahead and highlight the key words, such as verbs or nouns, in this sentence of our objective. So I'm a student and I highlighted that I will identify examples, scarcity, bubble map. Now I'm going to pass out 3 different colored squares. The first one says, I understand this concept. The second one says, I don't know this. And the third one says, it looks familiar or I have studied something like this before. Now I'm going to ask you all to go ahead and you can choose one of the 3 squares I passed out and hold it up for how you feel about our learning objective today. Okay, so I see my students have held up, I understand this concept. So now going back to our learning objective today, I will identify examples of scarcity and a bubble map. So I'd like you to hold up a 1 if you feel that you could teach this concept to someone else. I'd like you to hold up a 2 if you understand most of everything, but not everything. And I would like you to hold up a 3 if you don't understand at all. Okay, so student holds up 2. So my students held up that they understand most of the learning objective, but not everything. Our learning objective is, I will identify examples of scarcity on a bubble map. I will use learning techniques such as using a bubble map to understand new vocabulary. Now I would like each of my students to go ahead and highlight the key verbs and nouns in both of these objectives. I highlighted identify examples, scarcity, bubble map, use learning techniques, using bubble maps, understand vocabulary. I'm going to pass out to each of my students a white square that says, I understand this concept, a blue square that says, I don't know this, and a lighter blue square that says, it looks familiar or I have studied something like this before. So based off of our learning objective for today, I would like my students to pick one of those cards to hold up. So I see that my students held up, it looks familiar or I have studied something like this before. So in closing today, I want us to go back and look at our learning objectives again. They say, I will identify examples of scarcity on a bubble map. I will use learning techniques such as using a bubble map to understand new vocabulary. So I want to know how well you met our learning objective today, how well you think you met our learning objective today. So I want you to hold up a 1 if you think, I can teach this concept to someone else. I'd like you to hold up a 2 if you think, I understand most of this, but not everything. And I'd like you to hold up a 3 if you don't understand anything at all and you need some more examples and practice. So I noticed a lot of my students held up, I understand most of it, but not everything about our learning objective.